Good evening, guys. This is a recording of the lab on work and energy. Let me explain how things work over here. These are ideas that you guys have already learned in class. I'm making an alternate recording since the original recording is not available due to technical reasons. So this whole system is basically showing you that I can reset this entire thing. I have the skater guy on this U-shaped well who is going up and down. You see that there is a small potential energy reference checkbox. When I click that, I see a PE equal to 0 with which a dotted line, which basically says that there is a reference point. Yeah, here the potential energy is 0. Notice that this middle point, let's call this point B. The top left point here would be called point A. Oops, sorry about the skater. I'm just going to pause this simulation while I explain how this works. This is point A, the bottom point is point B, and the top right point is point C. Okay, so I'm going to drag this point B down to the ground so that the potential energy over there is 0. And one moment, let me bring the skater up to the topmost point and then I will pause this simulation. Now you guys know that we measure potential energy against the Earth's gravitation. That's the potential energy that we are interested in. So I'm going to check this grid box, and as you can see that the maximum potential energy in this figure is 7 units. Yeah, it's exactly between 6 and 8. So these are the different ideas in this that we will be covering in this simulation. There's also a friction tracker that I've just clicked on at the bottom of the screen, bottom right. You can see that right now it's at none. Yeah, so there's no friction at this point. I can also figure out what the total energy of this skater is. Yeah, it seems like at this point he has total potential energy and no kinetic energy. Yeah, he's at rest. Let's see if that makes sense. So I'm going to open up a bar graph, which you guys should be able to see now. The yellow bar says is total energy, and at this point it's completely kinetic energy. Okay, so now that we've understood all these points, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the speed of this simulation to about 1/10 of the actual speed so that we can actually study how this works. Let's look at the energy bar chart. At this point the skater has not yet started moving, and all the energy is potential energy and kinetic energy is 0. And the height of the total energy bar, make a note of that. Yeah. Now I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to pause it again at the bottommost point, which was point B. Keep looking at both these things. Yeah, mainly the energy bars. Okay, I've paused it almost exactly at the bottom, and you can see that if I add up this green bar and this small blue bar, it will be equal to the yellow bar. And another important thing is that the yellow bar has not changed at all. It was at this point right from the beginning. So at the ground level, he's almost at the ground level. Let's assume that if he were at the ground level, this blue thing would be 0 and this green thing would have increased by that much amount. What is this green thing? It's nothing but the kinetic energy. So this is trying to say that at the bottommost point, the skater has maximum kinetic energy. So clearly his kinetic energy is increased. It was 0 initially, and the total energy is the same, which makes sense according to the law of conservation of energy. Total energy does not change. So at the top of the ramp, the entire energy was potential. At the bottom of the ramp, it's completely kinetic. And during the course of motion, you saw that the bars changed. Yeah, the heights changed. And by the work energy theorem, this would make sense as well, because the change in kinetic energy should be equal to the total work done on the body. Now, how is this work being done? Remember that work gets done when there is a force. What force is involved here? Clearly, it's the force of gravitation, and the displacement is downwards. Yeah, he was at the top and now he's moved down the skate. So, and the force of gravitation also is downwards. So therefore, the work done must be positive, since both the force and the displacement are in the same direction. I hope this idea is clear. This is extremely important. Now, what do you think is going to happen if we press play again? He's going to go up the ramp on the right hand side, but how far is he going to go? Is he going to go up all the way to 7, or is it going to go less than 7 or more than 7? Think about this for some time before. Yeah, I would say that you pause this video, think about this, and then replay this video. I'm going to resume the simulation now and pause it at the topmost point. And there you go. I've paused it exactly at the point where he's changed the direction. Now at that point, clearly the total potential energy is still the same, which means he's gone to the same highest point. Okay, this is the point that we are calling C. It's exactly 7 units. Remember that at the highest point he comes to a halt and starts sliding down. So for an instant his velocity was 0. This means that kinetic energy is 0 at that point and it only possesses potential energy. This also can be verified from the same graph on the right hand side. Now this means that the kinetic energy at B has been converted completely to potential energy at C, and by conservation of energy the potential energy at C would be equal to the kinetic energy at B. Now if all of the kinetic energy at B came from the potential energy at point A, which is what the first part of the simulation was from, we deduced that, we can clearly now say that potential energy at point A would be equal to the potential energy at point C, which would then mean that both these heights should be equal. So which is what we've also seen practically. So now we are seeing that what we derived in theory makes sense and also is practically applicable. But let's look at the work energy theorem now from this bottom point B to this point C. Same thing, yeah. Change in kinetic energy from B to C should be equal to the work done on the body from B to C. Now the change in kinetic energy is clearly negative. Why do I say that? Because the final kinetic energy is 0 because the velocity is 0 and the initial kinetic energy had a positive value. Therefore the change is negative. How does that make sense? Because this would mean that the work done on the body would also be negative. Again, think about this for a couple of seconds before you come back to this explanation that I'm going to give you. Some force has done negative work on the skater. The force is the same, it's still the force of gravitation acting downwards. So how is the work negative? The work is negative because the displacement now is in the opposite direction as the force. The displacement is happening in the upward direction and the force is in the downward direction. Therefore the work is negative. So this works with the whole kinetic energy theorem as well. Yeah, so this makes sense that it was negative kinetic energy change, hence the work done is negative. So this is consistent with the work energy theorem. Let's press play again. Let's press play again and pause at a random point between B and C. And there you go. Let's call this point D. So at this point, let's look at the kinetic and potential energy bars. Clearly, he has some downward velocity at this point, and hence he has kinetic energy. But this kinetic energy, this green bar, is smaller than the maximum value, and it seems like he also has some potential energy, which makes sense because he is, he's above the ground. Important thing to notice here is that the total energy bar is still the same. That has not changed. This means that the sum of kinetic and potential energy is always constant only and only if the frictional force is 0. Remember that before this we began this simulation, we set the frictional force to be 0, the coefficient of friction to be 0. If I press play now and I observe this, these bars keep changing, the guy keeps going up and down. How long do you think this is going to happen? Yeah, at points A and C it's all potential energy, at point B it's completely kinetic, at any other point it's a summation of both. Yeah, that's why the bars are going up and down. Do you think this is going to go on for a minute, about an hour? It's going to do this forever because there's no friction. But this obviously is not what you see in real life. In real life, if you are skating, then as soon as you go to the topmost point, you exert some force on yourself to go down, and which is why you are able to skate. So what's the difference? The main difference between real life and this simulation is friction. So let's try and simulate that same idea here, yeah, with friction. Let me take this guy back onto the topmost point. I'm going to remove this bar graph out of the recording for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and increase friction to a small value. One moment. Yeah, I'm going to increase it to a value, say halfway there. Yeah, about halfway to the maximum. Yeah, almost there. One moment. Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to now do the same thing that I did earlier. I'm going to press play. Before I do that, what do you think is going to happen now? Is the energy at the bottom going to be the same as the potential energy bar? Let's find out. I'm going to press play and I'm going to pause at the bottommost point. Okay, there you go. Clearly now, the kinetic energy is nowhere close to the total energy. Because what has happened now is that there is a force of friction here. But according to the work energy theorem we've done in class, the change in kinetic energy from A to B should be equal to the work done on the skater from A to B. The gravitational work is the same because the gravitational force is the same, displacement is same. So clearly there's an extra component of work. There's some other work that's happening. That is the frictional force. Frictional force retards motion and now does some negative work on the skater. This is shown in this bar graph as thermal energy. So the total work done on the skater is less than the case without friction. Hence the kinetic energy at B is less than the potential energy at A. I hope this idea is clear. This is extremely important. This potential energy at A has gone into increasing the kinetic energy in B and also in creating thermal energy. So now it's the sum of all the three bars, the green bar and the blue bar and the orange bar. That's happened to be the sum, that happened to be the total energy. Notice that this potential energy ideally should be 0. It's because I have not paused it at the lowermost point, which is why there's a small value here. Otherwise, that would be adjusted. So that is just experimental error. That's not something very peculiar to be discussed here. Now, if I keep this going, how high is this guy going to rise? Think about this. Is he going to rise up to the 7 meters or the 7 units again? Is he going to go higher than 7, lower than 7? Think about this for a couple of seconds before you come back to this explanation. Let's play this and see how it works out. I'm going to pause as soon as it turns. There you go. I've paused it. And it seems like the kinetic energy is 0, almost 0 at this point, because I was supposed to pause exactly at the point it turns. That means that his velocity should be 0 at that point. Yeah, if he's just going to turn, if he's going to stop and turn, that means the velocity is 0. And what you see here is that the height is a lot lesser than 7 meters. It seems to be, it's between 3 and 4, approximately 3.5 meters. This is because of two reasons. Because to start with, at B, the skater had lesser kinetic energy. Yeah, that's the first point. And the second point is that the negative work, because of friction, continued to, it continued adding up. So that has increased as well. So the potential energy has further reduced, which is why the maximum distance that it goes up is only about 3.5 units. So now if I press play, what do you think is going to happen? Is he going to keep on going forever? It seems like he won't, and let's see, because obviously his kinetic energy has reduced in the first go itself, and the kinetic energy keeps reducing. The minimum value theoretically of the kinetic energy has to be 0, because it's half mv square. Velocity, whether positive or negative, v square, the lowest value is 0, mass is positive, so the lowest value of kinetic energy is 0, which means that the guy comes to rest, which is what you physically see. So this is a very, very cool practical example of the ideas we have learned in class. And when it comes to a halt, you can see that the thermal energy is equal to the total energy, which means that all the frictional work has been lost as heat, and kinetic and potential energy are 0, which means he's at the bottom of the ramp and he has no velocity. He's completely come to a halt. Okay? This means that he has 0 mechanical energy, and all of the thermal energy has been lost as heat. So I hope these ideas are clear, and this is extremely important simulation. As a last part to this simulation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rerun the same idea with an increased value of friction. I'm going to move this bar graph out, pause this simulation, think about what's going to happen now. Is he going to go faster? Is he going to go slower? Or is he going to go at the same rate as earlier? When I go and increase the friction to a large amount, I'm going to hit play and I'm going to leave the energy bar with you guys. Think about this, and I hope these ideas are clear as to why we see what has happened. Clearly the height that he has gone to is lower than that of approximately 3.5, and he comes to a halt faster, which should make sense theoretically. And this is a really cool simulation. That's it for today.